Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we have a very special bottle, Dustin. Even special for me. It's even special for me to say that every once in a while. We're going to take a look at the Lagavulin 1991. This was the 2015 Feis Ile bottling, 24 years old, comes in at a whopping 59.9% ABV. Triple cask mature, Dustin. Ex-bourbon barrels, then Pedro Ximénez casks, and then Old Cherry Puncheons for the final maturation. Good classic 20-plus-year-old Lagavulin that had real sherry cask maturation, not sherry seasoning. And buddy, as you know, this one is a beast.
Yes, sir. So Mike, we've had this, I think I've had this 4 or 5 times now with you.
At least. We've almost polished off this bottle. I told him we need to get to it. The bottle's about down to here. I got a couple of backups, but just a stunning whiskey from the very first time we had it, and well, it's a big pour for you. And maybe my favorite Lagavulin. Now, I've never had the 21 from 1985, but I've had the 25 and the 2012 21, both excellent whiskeys. But this is right up there with the best Lagavulins I've had. Again, this is 2015 bottling. Only has 3,500 total bottles made. So that was the whole release of this is 3,500 bottles, so very, very small amounts of bottles out there. I was fortunate enough to pick up 3, but everyone I know that's tried this one that's a fan of Lagavulin has loved it. We've loved it so far.
Oh, yeah. Exclusively a UK release as well, so there were none of these in the States, as with pretty much every Lagavulin that is worth buying.
Yeah, so I think all of them were 700 mLs, so it wasn't easy to get at all. It seriously wasn't easy to get the second one or the third one, so.
Yeah.
Know a couple of buddies, one buddy in Carolina, one buddy here locally in Columbus was able to source this bottle for me. I was extremely excited to get it, and no further ado, let's tell the people what we think. 59.9% cask strength, 24-year-old Lagavulin, beautiful natural color.
The legs are incredible on here too.
Yes. Lagavulin an oily dram at the least of times.
Yeah.
Especially when it's cask strength and it's this high of an ABV, which is just stunning for its age.
Yeah, nearly 60% on a 24-year-old whiskey is just incredible.
Incredible.
And right off the bat on the nose, Mike, I cannot smell even the slightest hint of alcohol.
Beautiful. I mean, it's a big, bold whiskey, but there's nothing that's off-putting about it whatsoever.
Oh, it's that sweetness from the PX.
For sure.
Darker fruits that come in, maybe more of that Oloroso, the pungent at the end. And then just an overall very sweet. You know what I don't get a lot on here, Mike?
Give it to me.
I don't get a lot of Lagavulin's classic sweetness because the sherry casks, I think even the bourbon barrel are kind of getting in there. These are very active casks.
Very active cask. It's surprising how strong and how vibrant the whiskey is after all this time. Sometimes when they mix casks together, you get a certain thing, but sometimes they transfer whiskeys in between casks like they did with this one. Sometime in bourbon, transfer them to PX, transfer them to Old Cherry Puncheons for the final maturation. It can lose some zestiness.
Yeah.
But not on this one, man. This one is an absolute stunner. So
I get some spicy oak, but it's not over oaked at all. It's very light, mellow oak. Like you get with a lot of good Lagavulin.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's not overly smoky. I mean, of course, that Lagavulin smokes there, but this one is a super meaty whiskey. I mean, we compared it to Talisker 25 earlier, so it's kind of like focusing on some of the flavors on it. Man, there is just this peppered, smoky bacon note that I get on this. It's just...
It's savory.
Yeah, savory, dense, oily.
But it's like a honey baked kind of. I mean, it's not honey, but I mean, it's so sweet. This is a sweet dram. It's a, Hawaiian, pork roast or something, and barbecue sauce. It's that level of sweetness.
Oh, it's almost just like maple bacon.
Oh yeah, I mean? I think there is some maple in there, Mike.
Maple bacon. I mean, then there's vanilla. And then just this really dense peach. I often get like a peachy aftertaste on Lagavulin 16. Like, it's just something that I pick up at Lagavulins in general.
Yeah,
is that peach.
you're the first person to show me that. And I think we were drinking and you kind of handed me a glass and said, "Are you picking up that peach?" And I went, "Holy crap!" And as soon as you said it there,
it's so obvious.
It was. It wasn't like one of those like power of suggestion. As soon as he said it, I'm like,
oh, how did I miss that?
Oh my god,
how did I miss that?
Yeah, that's like.
But it's almost like a grilled peach. Like it was on like the same grill like that you were cooking that bacon on.
It got a little burnt, a little toasted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's a toastiness going on here too, just throughout the whole thing. Just nicely toasted.
The oak note on here, as I think it was that toasted note, is kind of you're going into.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but I don't get that distinct Lagavulin sweetness on the nose.
Now, that's not to say I don't get sweetness. I get sweetness
super
on
sweet.
this, but it's coming from the PX cask.
Yeah, or maybe the bourbon cask, even that vanilla. I think we're getting all 3 casks here.
Yeah, no, I
Clearly.
mean, all 3 casks did a great job. I mean, I don't know if they're refill cask or first fill or second fill or third fill, but whatever cask these were, whatever time it was that they were used, man, they had a lot of life left in them. I mean, it's incredible.
And the funny thing is, like, every time I pick a different angle, I get a different nose. You know, one time I get berries, then I get smoke.
There is berries in this.
And then I'll go for another one. I even got a little hint of mint just a minute ago.
Yeah, there's mint too.
I was like, wait, that's mint. I mean, it just hit me.
I mean, this one here has bits and pieces of almost every Lagavulin, the best version of it. It has like a very candied older mint that you normally get on the 12, but a much less refined mint that you get on the 12. But in here, it's just perfect. The peach note on this is just stronger than any other Lagavulin I've ever nosed. The pepper smoked maple bacon is something that is new to a Lagavulin to me.
I've gotten a little bit of bacon in the past.
It's something meaty with Lagavulins in the past, especially some of the cast strength ones. But man, this is just so obvious maple peppered bacon to me.
To me, this is the most charcoal smoke I've gotten on a Lagavulin. I've gotten smoke before, I've gotten heavy peat, but I've never gotten this, like, it's this clean, smooth, charcoal infused kind of a thing.
It's very reminiscent of the 2017 Distillery Team exclusive from the charcoal note. Now, usually I get iodine a little bit stronger with Lagavulins. I don't really get the iodine here. It's replaced with that kind of charcoal smoke.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then I get a hint where it makes me think maybe, but I think it is charcoal smoke.
Now the vanilla's getting creamy. This creamy vanilla and oak.
That oak is getting more and more prevalent, and it's such a nice oak. It really puts this whiskey together. It takes all that sweetness, the fruits, the smoke, and it just kind of pulls it all together and says, all right, guys.
Yes. It is the binding force. It's the glue that kind of is the backbone of this whiskey.
It's just doing such a great job here, Mike.
I mean, there's honey coming in now. A honey sweetness. It goes along with the kind of that maple glaze on the bacon. You know,
I 9 times out of 10 on one of these peated whiskeys, and even on the Lagavulins, I come back and I come up with something like a candied cigarette. I don't get that here. That's not here. I think maybe honey is the sweetness.
It's so
glazed.
It's so sweet. It's not the malt sweetness because that's very distinctive in Lagavulins for me.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely the 2 types of sherry. You're playing really nicely here. The bourbon cask, and then I mean, I'm sure somewhere in there that sweetness of Lagavulin is in there. But it's just making things sweeter. It's like adding like some sugar to something. It's enhancing it. It's not. It's
almost like sugared barley too. And again, it's not like, it's almost like a separate note. You know, normally, you know, you get that Lagavulin note, and I usually don't say barley. Like I say barley with Brook Laddies a lot of times.
Yeah.
And you get a barley note from them, but this isn't the Lagavulin distillery characteristic. It's distinct barley.
Yeah.
Brown sugar and barley.
You know, I think that might be the oak that's that barley note though.
Maybe.
Because I can remember, like, if you ever, like...
Because it's toasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to make, like, kind of like similar to oatmeal, but it was like a barley, like these little, like, pellets, and I'd put them in and kind of make an oatmeal type thing out of them.
Gristy.
Yeah, and it was okay. I tried it once or twice, and I decided to move on, but this kind of reminds me a little of that, but it's the oak that smells like it.
There is so much going on with this one, man.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. Because, again, like, you know, I've had good Lagavulins before, and they're super sherried and smoky. You know, they have a lot of transitions, a lot of flavors, but as far as complexity, this is just one of the most complex Lagavulins I've ever had. You know, it's funny, a buddy of mine who's also a fan of this, you know, he's told me to put off doing a video of this because I've had this bottle for a year. Because he's like, man, we need to get 2 or 3 before you tell everybody how good it is.
Yeah.
So everyone knows I talk a lot. What do you pick up on the palate?
Oh, man. So the first thing I got to go right back to is, Mike, believe it or not, old peated whiskey still tastes like peat. It's weird.
Some of the best peated whiskeys are 20 plus years old.
Yes, and this is incredibly peated. The alcohol is very, very assertive here, and everything we talked about on the nose is definitely there. What really strikes me as different about this is I'm getting so much chocolate. I wasn't smelling chocolate, but I'm getting it that third cask I think has added a lot of like, it's like milky powdered chocolate. It's not super intense. But it's there. The oak is there. I'm also starting to pick up a little of that Lagavulin malt. coming in and it's playing a role. What are you getting, Mike?
It is strong. It is big. It is Lagavulin, dense, oily, smoky. You're tasting the 59.9%.
Oh, yeah.
Near 6% ABV. It's not that the nose wasn't strong, it was, but I got no alcohol nose. You can tell how much it's driving the flavors.
Yeah. I even got a little bit of warmth in my chest.
Oh.
We've had 2 drinks so far tonight. I mean, I still got it, so.
Oh man, this is just such an aggressive whiskey. But again, a lot of the same things. I'm getting intense oak, intense vanilla, getting berries, getting that pepper smoke, maple bacon, a little bit of black tea. You know, I'm a big tea drinker.
Yeah.
And you know, I just get like the plain black Lipton tea. And I mix 4 bags in there. Like the way the bag smells after you take it out of the tea, it's almost like you bit into it. You know what I mean? It's just gritty black tea. It's so dense.
Yeah, I think I missed the spice notes when I was giving my notes earlier, but yeah.
Oh, so spicy.
There is a very nice spice. It's not just wood spice. No, there is something else here. And I think tea is a really good descriptor. Black tea, yeah.
Yeah, super well, it's the only tea I drink.
So I'm more of a green tea guy, so I don't. I have to remind me of black tea. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That is with black tea.
You know, some people would say they get, you know, some black teas off like Lagavulin 16. I never really got that, but on this one, man, I getting gritty black tea. I'm almost getting tea leaves before like you actually, you know, put them in the water itself.
Yeah, or like if, you know, your bag kind of broke and you kind of get a little bit of a taste of it, and you get that extra bitterness. Because this is that bitter on that finish, but it's got all that sweetness we talked about. It's got, I don't get as much smoke here as I get peat. It's funny because on the nose, it's all smoke. Here, I think I get more peat than smoke.
That's always a hard one sometimes for me to, you know, break down. But, you know, as I took my first drink, it has a long linger. And the longer time it's been since I swallowed, the peach comes back. That fruity peach comes back. And the smoke, that elegant, aristocratic Lagavulin smoke just settles on the palate, especially on the sides of the mouth.
And it's gentle wood there, too.
It almost creeps back in. Like at this point, after, you know, been maybe a minute or so since my last drink, like it's just settling in here. Campfire, you know, fire gone out too cold. Some of those cold notes that you were kind of talking about, just, man, you could just sit here. I have shared this bottle with a few people, you being probably one I share with the most. I probably had this bottle 10 different occasions. Every time I pick up something more. Almost, and now it's almost transitioned like a lemon on the finish, like a lemon custard.
Well, so now with the water here, believe it or not, Mike, I'm getting distinct lemon on the nose.
Yeah, the lemon definitely came out. Maybe I was kind of getting a waft of it if it was sitting here, but no, I mean, like, you know, Kalila 30 was kind of like a lemon.
It's like it's like a lemon pie. Almost.
Yeah, like a lemon meringue pie. Yeah. And it's not that; it's more gritty and dirty. It's not a dessert lemon.
Well, there's like gritty and dirty somewhere else here. I think the lemon is candied almost. It's just the back end has that smoke and that oak. Man, I'll tell you what, Mike, the whiskey has changed on the. We didn't put a lot of water in either.
No.
It's very different.
You know, this is a similar bottle, Dustin, if you remember when I opened this, very similar to like the Talisker 25 cast strengths. It came roaring out of the bottle. Like the first drink was like, wow, like this is just incredible. And now it's settled down some as we worked our way through the bottle. I mean, but man, it's still a beast of a whiskey. I mean, a beast of a whiskey. And I love cast strength whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer cast strength whiskey. This one here is just so many things. An excellent whiskey. And again, we drink a lot of good whiskeys. Yeah. This stands out as one of the best.
This, I mean, when you first gave me this, and this was probably, I want to say, like November of last year.
Oh, it's been about a year.
Yeah,
it's been about a year.
It's
because I opened it immediately.
Yeah. That's funny, me saying in November of last year, and I'm thinking to myself, that's only been like 4 months. Wait, no.
We're here again.
This whole thing, wow.
October 2020. We almost made it, man. We're almost there.
Almost a full year. And I mean, this thing was just a punch in the face. I walked out of there going, that's the best whiskey I've ever had.
I agree.
And I don't know if today I'm thinking the same thing as the best whiskey I've ever had. But
it's hard because it's not new. Like the first time we had it was such a unique experience. But I mean, I think what you're getting with a lot of our tasting notes is an extremely complex whiskey that does a lot of things well. One that if you're a fan of smoke, fan of sweet sherry maturation with old whiskey, especially peated whiskeys, good lord.
Well, and an elephant in the room with Lagavulin, we've had this conversation a lot.
Bad casks?
Yes.
Bad casks. Not these ones, not this one.
You went right to where I was going, by the way. That was actually impressive.
Yeah.
This is a showcase of phenomenal casks.
Yeah, awesome casks.
Yeah. So,
I had a friend, a good friend, who was actually at Feis Ile 2015.
Okay.
When they revealed this, and he was immediately impressed with it. When he came back, he was like, Mike, you got to get Lagavulin 24. And I was just like, well, what's up to do with it? He was like, I don't know. It's like arguably the best Lagavulin I've ever had. And he said he was talking with a few people at the distillery when he bought his first bottle and he's having samples. And what they were talking about what they were going to do in the next year, which was Lagavulin's 200th anniversary. And of course, we know what they brought it to 25.
25 years,
but at the time they were saying, man, we're going to have our work cut out to outdo this one right here. And I got to tell you, as you know, I have the 25. I don't know if it's a better whiskey. It's more dessert, but I don't know if it's a better whiskey.
Yeah.
It's certainly not more complex. This thing here is an absolute stunner.
This is
stunner.
This is as complex as an Isla whiskey gets. And I think a lot of people really enjoy the young Islas, and I get that. You know,
I enjoy
you like the intensity, you like the peat punch.
It's not that we don't like them.
Yeah. But this has a level of complexity that is just unbelievable, and yet this has got as big a peat punch as anything I've had.
59.9%. It's basically a 60% ABV cask strength whiskey. That is just a lion.
Yeah, and you can't tell me, Mike, that this has lost any peat.
It's so smoky. The smoke is so dense.
Yeah.
I get that a lot with Lagavulin. You know, it takes a while to uncoil. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've compared it to like a snake uncoiling. If that's a snake, this is a dragon uncoiling. It just keeps burning flames.
So, Mike, are you getting anything different with water?
It tends to be slightly sweeter to me with water. But I mean, again, depending on when I smell or kind of what I'm looking for, all of it's still there.
Yeah. When I taste it, the one thing I noticed different is I do get more salt. I get a little more bite.
That's
alcohol.
typical of Lagavulin.
It's typical of a lot of Islas, I think.
Yeah,
you get more salt.
Out.
Especially Lagavulin.
Especially Lagavulin. Especially cask strength Lagavulin.
Well, we've tried once or twice we tried doing a review and just gave up on it after going to a Mexican restaurant.
It was too salty.
And we get
not
this
like, whiskey.
No.
Other Lagavulin.
Much less expensive ones. And we were like, man, I can't do this. I'm just getting salt.
Yeah, it was. Okay, you have to be very careful with your palate in that scenario. And I barely ate today. I knew we were going to do this review today, so we did it the right way. We've had this a ton, and we had a couple drams before we did, just make sure we got everything down. But I'm still getting the black tea. I'm still getting the wood smoke with the creamy vanilla. Still getting lemon. Still getting that sugary, smoky maple bacon. I'm still getting that toasted barley.
Say with the maple bacon, it's coming out more in the nose with the water too.
I've never really gotten that. Like I've gotten like a meaty note before, but never distinctly bacon.
Yeah, and I don't know that I'm distinctly bacon, but it's a really salty meat. So, and honestly, when it comes to super salty meats, what else do either of us eat except bacon consistently?
Ham, maybe? I'm not
a big ham guy either. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, man. Ever since I tried to eat that Dagwood challenge, I don't think I've had ham since then. It's a bad experience. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the water. Again, with water, I think it's getting a little sweeter. You can add a few drops of this. Again, this is a monster, 59.9. Like always, I like to try everything neat, at least at first. And I would drink most of my Lagavulins neat in general.
Yep.
But, water definitely sweetened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It tamed it just slightly. Maybe made the vanilla and the sweeter notes a little more aromatic. It's easier to pick up the lemon. It's easier to pick up the peach, and the peach and the lemon is two separate things, where I think neat, I was getting them as one.
Yeah, because the lemon's up front and the peach is at the end.
Agreed.
Completely. I mean, it's very obvious. Like, oh, it's finishing. That's peach.
And even though it's been probably 5 or 6 minutes since I had my first drink, it's still there. And it's like that milk chocolate finish. It's just excellent.
Yeah, it's chocolate, a little oak.
All right, let's go for our last drink.
Yep.
Give this one a score. And hopefully none of you buy this bottle of whiskey so I can still get it reasonable if I want a fourth bottle.
They are not reasonable now.
They're not reasonable now.
I'm like, you're crazy, Mike. Well, yeah. All right, Mike, I'm going to let you go first on score. Put your heels to the fire.
Well, if you go back how it tasted with water, it is still a big of a mouthfeel with a few drops of water as it was before. I mean, it just explodes on the palate. Mm-hmm. It's so mouth coating. I mean, it hits it's the front, the mid, it hits everything.
Yep.
Chocolate finish. I mean, again, it just is a whiskey you will never forget when you drink it. Dustin, 3,500 bottles made.
Yep.
I got 3 of them. So what's that? 0.67% of these bottlings?
It's after 10 o'clock. I'm done doing math.
Done doing math. It's been a long week.
Yeah, I took a half day today, Mike. I'm done with numbers.
I tell you what, all day long, numbers were not my friend. This is, let me preference when I'm a whiskey scorer, let me just say this. We've done a lot of good whiskeys. I've done a lot of good whiskeys on this channel. You've done a lot of good whiskeys with me on this channel. Talisker 25s. We got a lot of good whiskeys to come. This is the best whiskey that I've reviewed on this channel. I'll say that. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna give it the highest score because I gave scores more generously in the past. But this is the best whiskey I have ever brought you guys. Ever.
It's a bold statement.
94 out of 100. 94 out of 100, just an excellent. I think I looked up on Whiskey Base. This was like a 93, I want to say, something 93.1 or something, which is high for that side. This is just a beautiful whiskey. Thank God I have a few more bottles. This is a whiskey I never want to be without my entire life because if I find a true Lagavulin fan or a true fan of really excellent, well-crafted whiskeys, and I want to impress them, I'm going to this.
Yeah. All right, Mike. So
Mammoth whiskey.
we had a very small pour of this before we went in, and that pour was a 92 for me. And the first few times we had this, it was a 94.
Or 95, maybe. I remember thinking I was going to give this a straight up 95.
I may have been there. Coming back, this was a bigger pour. Let me get more into it, dig deeper, and I'm back to.
I gave you a shovel.
I hate to say it, but I'm giving it a 94. I hate to be matching your score, but
There's no way I can go down to a 93. There's no. I mean, this is so unique. This does. I mean, what does this not do well? Subtlety. Not that I even want that. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's the only thing I can even say.
I mean, I think there can be better, but it's a challenge. Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, we hope so.
Now, I will say this though. I still do have the Highland Park 28 slightly ahead in my head over this one.
Yeah.
But they're two completely different animals. He's wrong. I like Sherry more than he does. It's that simple.
This has everything. This has everything in such balance, but the balance, everything is amped up. So it's very aggressive, but there's so many good aggressive things in here. Like the peach. The peach is just that fiery grilled peach. Yeah. That lemon is so intense. That oaky vanilla note, which is just together. I can't get the vanilla without the oaky creamy oak note. Is incredible. The savory, whatever salted meat you want to call it, or peppered meat, doesn't matter.
If you were to cut back some of the bitterness, about 1%, you were to bring the.
You were getting bitterness? Or are you getting dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate is bitter. There's a little touch of oak bitter. There's a touch of dark chocolate for sure in there. We're splitting hairs here, but we were saying, how can I make this better?
Well, no, this when you're talking about one of the best whiskeys you had, you need to split hairs.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about like Michael Jordan, LeBron James?
Yeah.
Like you have to nitpick things to make you seem like a hater.
Yeah.
Just because when you're talking about the best ever, that's the conversation you have to have. Like, oh, you lost a few finals? Well, that's a problem. Like I won 7, whatever. When you're talking about one of the best whiskeys you've ever had, you have to nitpick the fine details.
Yeah, and to me, this could be 1 or 2% less bitter. That would maybe be what pushes it to a 95.
Would you accept that at the cost of a lower ABV?
No.
No,
the beauty of this thing is we can add water, and we can add as much water as we need to get it where it is because it starts off. I'll tell you what though, if this came in at 70%, I don't know. I couldn't taste the alcohol.
Like the
nose, I couldn't.
Like that. It's so packed with flavor.
Like I got a little bit of a burn on this thing, but I mean, I don't taste any alcohol. Like the flavor of alcohol is not in here. The impact of alcohol is so minimum given it's 60%.
It's a stunner.
I mean, you think about. I'm trying to think. What else have we had that's around 60%?
For a 10 cast strength.
No, that hits you in the face with alcohol.
Kalila 35. It's 58. It's a similar, not similar age, but it's in the same ballpark.
I could argue that one has a better feel to it.
A little more manufactured, but we'll get to that one.
We'll get to that one. There's going to definitely be some reasons why that one's not as high a score as this, but.
94 all day. I would love if you were one of the few people that were able to obtain one of the 3,500 only bottles. I would love to hear what you guys think because I was completely blown away about it. But I have, besides the people, you and Keith, the people I shared it with, and Jason, and who's mainly a bourbon guy. I only have one other person to bounce this off of. Is such a limited edition thing, and when something's usually it's not a problem for me. When something is this good, like I want other people to know it's this good and make me feel like I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear from somebody who's, let's call it a peat agnostic, because we're all peat lovers.
Sure.
You, me, Keith definitely is, Jason, absolutely.
He was blown away by this whiskey.
Yeah, well, he likes peat. If he's going to do scotch, that's his thing.
Yeah, no, it was a bomb whiskey right here, Wayne. Damn, it's good.
Yeah, but I'd love to hear, especially from somebody who's not a big peat lover to see if maybe they somehow were at Feis Ile and just were saying, hey, I'll drink anything, to see what they think.
And wow, I showed up on the right day.
Boy, did they.
Showed up on the right day. Well, this has been a longer video than normal just because I've wanted to gush about this bottle for quite some time. Again, a friend of mine made me swear not to review it for a year until he got a sufficient amount of backup bottles because he didn't want the price to go crazy. But hey, go crazy. And this is every bit the bottle that the 25 2016 is. Again, not as sweet, not as dessert, but arguably, in my opinion, a better whiskey. Although I think I'll probably bring that in around 94 as well.
And if you happen to see someone want to help hook us up, just let us know.
Yeah, I will. I'm always looking for more. I might call this a 94 and a half. It's just, wow, it's a stunner. Every time I went back to this whiskey, I was just like, you know, I thought maybe Kalila 30 or 35 was a better whiskey. I thought maybe Talisker 25 cask strength was a better whiskey. And I come back to this, I'm like, nope. This thing,
Nope.
This is where it's at.
Nope.
I never want to be without a bottle. I hope you guys get a chance. I really do. So anyway, those are Dustin and I's thought on this one. Just a whiskey I've been wanting to bring to you for a long time. Dustin and I are going to do a little road trip tomorrow. So I said, buddy, it's time.
Let's do it.
It's time. Let's drink this Lagavulin 24. So we're glad you joined us. Again, if you've had a chance to try the bottle, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And until next time, Dustin, what do you wish the folks?
By the power of Grayskull, happy drinking.
See you next time. Yeah, see, you did know it, you motherfucker.
I don't remember the multi-headed thing, but I have